Alice. Fancy seeing you here. You walked in at a good time. We got Vera and Jacob from Vera Bloom. And Taylor from Orbit Orchid, you remember him. He's going to be co-hosting tonight. Thank you guys so much for being here. It is a good night for making bad decisions. And you guys have made an awful decision by coming on this podcast. So, yeah. You guys have a show tomorrow at the basement, OG basement. Who you guys playing with?
We're playing with Violet Moons and Blackpool Mecca.
Hell yeah. Violet Moons is dope.
Yeah, they're cool.
Is it like a full band thing?
I think they're doing full band, yeah.
Right on. Did you guys release a video recently? Did I make that up?
Yeah. Put out a new single called Boxes, and I did like a pretty DIY music video to that. So.
Nice. Is that going on an upcoming one, or is an EP or something?
Boxes?
Yeah.
Yeah. I have an upcoming EP that is going to host all of the singles that I've put out but never found a home, and then 2 new singles that have not been released yet.
Nice.
So it's going to be like kind of like a string of singles.
You guys have been around for a while, right? Like, how long have you been operating as Vera Bloom?
It was actually right before the pandemic hit, and then that was kind of it. And then finally, when lockdowns ended and everything, and venues became more active, then that's when we really started playing shows.
Right on. Yeah, that was kind of a time for writing, not playing for a lot of...
Yeah, and I was releasing my first EP during that time, so it was, a lot of just... Here's music to listen to, but come see a show. I don't know when. You know.
Did that start with you, and then you kind of got a band after that?
Yeah, I had, aside from, yes, essentially. It's a whole new cast now, basically, which I am very, very happy with and very grateful for.
When did you come into the party?
I guess it was 2020, 21.
What is time?
When things were,
Yeah.
when we started, when shows started happening again. So, 20, after the first COVID experience was through, and then the shows started happening again. So I started playing in the band, replaced another guitar player named Jacob, apparently. So.
Yeah, he's Jacob. I don't like to call it 2.0 because you're, like, much better. Hopefully he's not watching.
I don't need to throw shade or anything.
Do you guys just know each other through the scene?
Well, actually, it was through bartending.
Yeah, we worked together at a place called Never Never over in Wedgwood, Houston area.
Okay.
Some friends of mine opened it, so...
So, yeah.
I live a stone's throw distance from there. I love that bar.
Oh, yeah?
The Wedgwood, Houston area. As
Yep.
Alice, if you're of older memory, they're talking about the Chestnut Hill
Yes.
location. And what I have now deemed the border of New Nashville and Music City, because yes, I moved Music City to South Nashville.
Oh, okay.
Wait, yeah.
Just
Okay. Neve's divvying up Nashville. You got Music City or Music Shitty, depending on, and then
New Nashville.
New Nashville.
And then Least Nashville.
And then what, Nashville?
least side,
Oh.
which is this fucking mean.
Well, it's least.
Yeah.
Everything here is least. So it's Least Nashville.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Do you
Go ahead.
guys still work at Never Never?
No, we're
No.
ex-employees, but
Gotcha.
always together.
Did you ever come across a man named Kenny who brings his dog to the Never Never?
There's a few dog customers.
Probably remember better the dog than the
Probably so, yeah.
His name is Dog. The dog I'm getting to.
Oh hell yeah.
What does dog look like?
Big brown.
I guess has fur,
Yep.
teeth.
4 legs.
Doesn't
bark though.
That's good.
There is a dog that is fitting that description, and I believe will take a beer from the bartender and deliver it
That's
to...
Dog.
Yeah, that's Dog.
Yeah.
Wow.
Okay. Yeah.
That sounds fucking awesome.
Yeah.
It's like the Cheers bar, except way cooler. It's like this the hangout.
Yeah. This dog, too, will just, like, go up to strangers and slump over and just be like, this is my spot for right now for the next 20 minutes.
Yeah.
I like that.
Do you guys have a favorite superhero? It's off the top of your head. I mean, that's kind of actually a thinking one. It's not a top of the head thing.
Do you?
I was just thinking about this. I haven't.
I mean, I think Catwoman, is she a superhero?
Yeah.
Yeah, I was like, Catwoman's pretty badass.
Yeah.
She's considered to be a villain now.
I know, well, that's what I was thinking. But I like that about her.
But that's the thing, I guess in the DC world, they kind of float in and out.
Yeah.
I think she's an anti-hero. She's not really a villain.
Well, she's actually just a cat burglar, is really the bottom line. Is she's just a cat burglar
Yeah.
that Batman has a hots for. That's why she's not thrown in the clink like the rest of them.
Right. Yeah, well, she was my choice.
Good choice.
Like,
I'm
stop.
sticking with it.
Wait a minute. You look pretty good in that cat suit. You're not going to jail.
Did you see the Batman with Zoe Kravitz and
The Batman.
the Batman? Yeah.
Wait, what?
That was the most recent one.
Has it not been the Batman before?
I don't think
I
so.
don't think so.
What?
It's always Batman, something or whatever. Or Batman does something
Yeah, I watched
like
it.
Returns or
I thought
Rises, whatever.
I thought there were some really beautiful cinematic moments.
Yeah, I liked it too. I got friends that like really hated it, and then friends that like really liked it. And it's like kind of one of those movies. I feel like it's not really a superhero movie in the way like maybe some people were expecting.
Yeah.
But I thought it was really good. I liked the Joker a lot too. I think it'd be cool if they did something like that. They probably won't though.
You don't
But
think so?
I don't think so because at the end of the Batman, they showed I think what was supposed to be Joker for like half a second.
Yeah.
And it wasn't Joaquin Phoenix, unfortunately.
Oh, I see. Trying to draw.
Yeah.
I heard it was the kid from Dunkirk.
Huh.
It was also in the Banshee of Inisherin. I can't think of the actor's name right now because it's like a Gaelic name or Irish name.
I think I heard
I'm
that.
showing my American ignorance right now.
Neve can probably look it up.
Oh,
The who plays Joker in the Batman?
the Batman.
The Batman.
Yeah.
Like at the very end.
I'll ask
Yeah.
the Google gods.
If you've seen, have you seen the movie Dunkirk?
Mm-mm.
Okay. Have you seen the new movie Banshees of Inisherin?
Uh-uh.
Oh, okay.
I need to get out more.
Well, Dunkirk was a while ago. It's like a World War II era
Is it
kind of
Christopher
period.
Oh, wait. Did I see that?
Maybe.
I could be
Actually,
wildly off,
I
but
think it might be. Yeah,
He has a
maybe.
really particular look.
the actor.
Yeah.
I am super fucking excited for the Barbie movie. Like, I haven't been this excited. Like, legitimately, I'm really excited about the Barbie movie. It looks fucking hilarious. It might not be. Like, it might be awful. But I'm excited about it. The casting is perfect.
Yeah, I
It's,
agree with you.
yeah, it's a scary pretense. At like what could this possibly be about? So
Yeah.
If it goes way out of the middle, like the middle lane, if it goes somewhere really weird,
It
which
could get really dark. I could see
I
that
doubt-
happening, but I don't think it would.
That would be fucking awesome.
But like, yeah, if it was just like turned into this like kind of really like dark, like everyone has mental issues. It's like a reflection on like society now. Like we're all like plugged in, you know, and it's just
It's actually just another Harley Quinn movie. They just tricked everybody.
yeah.
According to the Google gods, the Batman actor Barry Keoghan
Yeah, he's Barry. He's Barry.
yeah, it sounds right.
shares Riddler audition tape that landed him
Oh
the
yeah,
Joker
Maybe
role.
it's real. Oh, right.
That's cool.
I did not catch that movie, but I heard it had a great soundtrack with like a Nirvana, like something
Yeah.
in the way,
Yeah.
which I'm quite partial to. What I guess is there anything in like hearing a Nirvana or bands like that? Do you guys draw any influence from bands in that era?
Yeah, definitely. And also Seattle bands. Like I am from a little outside of Seattle. I can't say I'm from Seattle. But just having grown up in that area, I kind of It's hard to explain, but I like kind of think there's some sort of melancholy about being from the Pacific Northwest. Just
all the rain.
yeah, and it's you can't explain it, and it's just like it's just in you, and so I really like think like Nirvana and Soundgarden, and Pearl Jam, and they all have like this kind of like melancholic sort of energy, even though it's like it's rock and it's great and everything.
Yeah.
But I really vibe with that. But that being said, that was kind of something I hear in them and feel with those kind of bands from that area.
Yeah, no, very much. Like now that you mention it, it has a sound, like a specific niche.
Mm-hmm.
Like is Mudvayne Seattle?
Mudhoney.
Mudhoney, that's what I meant. Yeah.
Yeah.
Edit that out.
No. I'm gonna edit in me.
Wait.
I'm gonna edit a segment right here where I go off about your lack of knowledge for these bands.
Mudvayne is a band.
Yes.
Not on.
But has nothing to do with
Yeah.
Mudhoney the band.
Okay.
They share mud.
Yeah.
So that's
They have something in common. They have mud in common.
Mudhoney was formed by the Melvins' original bass player.
Oh, okay.
And the Melvins were they were like a Cobain like passion or like project. I don't know if it's passion project.
I know
but
he
like,
loved them at least.
Yeah.
And touted
Kurt
them.
Cobain was a roadie for Melvins. He painted their
Oh,
band.
okay.
He pretty much wanted to be them for many, many years, and even to this day, I describe Nirvana as you take 1 part Melvins, 1 part Mudhoney, and put a dash of Jesus Lizard. And
Okay. Yeah.
Buzzo from Melvins is the one who knew Dave Grohl and called him to say, "Hey, my buddy Kurt needs a drummer for his band."
Oh, cool.
So Grohl actually has Buzz to thank for
Yeah.
that. Actually, a lot of that scene has Melvins to thank.
Okay.
So
Cool.
I saw it was like a clip from SNL where it was like Nirvana and Charles Barkley doing an infomercial. And it wasn't a skit, like it was like an actual commercial.
yeah,
And
Oh,
it's
really?
Yeah, it was hilarious because he's like, Charles Barkley's doing like a really serious like, blah 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 blah, and they're just all like looking at like Dave Grohl and Kurt just looking at the camera like super wide eyed, just like making stupid faces and like.
I think that's actually like a promo for like an SNL appearance. Like I think they appeared on
You're
SNL.
right. Yeah, it wasn't a commercial.
They got
Right.
outtakes from it. I've seen it because they're like, "Can we y'all want to do that again?" And it's literally the outtakes because on live shows like that, you'll see, that's what the audience actually gets to see. Is them coming out doing take after take after take and all the bloopers and all that, But yeah, they do like station identification when they come out. They're like, coming up, blah, 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 and they're like, oh, let's run that again. Coming up, blah, and
Yeah.
that's why the applause sign comes up. It's to tell everybody, Now the applause sign goes off to keep you from clapping at a joke you're not supposed to like.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah.
Sorry, go ahead. We got something.
Did your introduction into the band affect, like, did you bring your own influence with it, or do you guys share a lot of influences? Obviously, I don't know how your songwriting works, but with a new guitar player comes a whole new bag of tricks. Did
Yeah.
that change the sound at all? I
No.
guess what I'm asking.
Absolutely. You can talk.
I speak through my music.
I let my
like a
playing
guitar
speak
player.
for me.
I think I think what changed was, I think the goal for bringing me on was so that I could handle more of the parts, so that she could focus on singing and being on stage and being a performer. So there are several songs at this point where she doesn't even play guitar, so that she can be be Vera Bloom on stage.
The front.
The front, yeah. Which is harder to do when you are, when you have a guitar on. Not to say.
Yeah, I usually because you are an incredible guitar player, so I love when I can play rhythm guitar, so you can do like all these awesome lead parts and solos. I love a good guitar solo. So, but on the punk songs where there's not going to be a lot of like guitar solos and stuff, then I'm like, I'm free, and then I can like run around, and do all these like antics and whatnot.
As a viewer, I like a crowd member, I guess. I always do like when the lead singer sometimes has the guitar, sometimes doesn't. I feel like it's a nice change of just like for visual enjoyment's sake. It changes up what's going on and it makes it fun to watch.
Yeah.
You guys are really solid. Do you like practice often? I know you guys had rehearsal before you came here.
Thank you. We actually don't practice as much as you might think that we do. We're just everyone's just good. Like, I'm not trying to like brag or anything, but it's to like go back to kind of your question. My songwriting is definitely influenced just by knowing that I could envision anything, and I know that. No, it's true. I'm like, this is the like part for the guitar solo, and I like then I give it to you, and I'm not I can't write stuff. I trust you guys, and you definitely like add. I basically consider all of you producers for the songs because you add your own parts. I mean, I can sit here and be like, no, I don't like that.
We got that on tape, right? I can use this in the court later on.
No, but you know what I mean? It's like, I can't tell you what I want from you, but I can just say, like, no, I don't really like that. Like, I kind of speak in, like, energy. Like, it's like, here's the song, we learn the song, but then I'm like...
Like, you got the vision of what it should be, and then, like, they're
just
able
like
to actualize
energy,
it.
but I can't, like, I'm not a drummer. Like, Brian, you know what you need to do.
I totally... This is not about my band, but in our band, there's a lot of, like, ad-libbing, like, the ba-ba-da-ba part, like, do a Weezer bend there, stuff like that.
Okay, yeah.
I don't know, maybe that's not how it goes for you, but maybe the language isn't as theoretical, it's more, like, feel-based is what I'm getting.
For me, it's very feel-based, yeah. Like, and I have a list, kind of like, this is what I don't like, so, but everyone's pretty good at we're all kind of on the same page as far as vibe. I don't know.
Yeah, you can find out pretty quickly when you are playing with someone new. If you haven't met them before, or you barely know them, and you start playing with them in rehearsal space, and then their influences come out, and you can tell pretty quickly if you're going to be on the same page or not. As far as like. If the drummer wants to do like double bass fills the entire song, it's not really going to serve like a melodic song like Vera Bloom would write. So the feel kind of just came from the people involved kind of liking the same stuff, or at least liking a lot of the same stuff. I also wanted to say we did practice a lot in the earlier days. We had more time because COVID was what COVID was. There was a lot going on. Things have gotten a little bit busier, so our rehearsal schedule is a little bit more erratic. But
yeah, we kind of rehearse when we know that there's something coming up.
Yeah, we didn't roll out of bed tight. And trust me, it still takes a lot of work for us.
Well, we played a lot of shows last year too.
What kind of music was like in the house growing up, like your parents?
For me, like, they didn't even play music. It was a silent house.
Even in the car?
Yeah.
Huh.
When my dad doesn't listen to music while driving because he's like, you have to be able to hear, like, hear
That's
if
awesome.
there's something going wrong with the car, like, or your surroundings. There's no music.
That's epic.
He's not wrong.
He's not wrong.
It's hard to argue that fact, but it's also pretty boring.
Well, but when I like had my license finally, I was like, like blasting the music on my own, and then like right before you come home, like you turn it like down and off, like when you pull into the driveway. But my parents, I stole all their records, so I know what they listened to in their youth. And so that I absorbed a lot of that, which is really just like old folk writers, like James Taylor and Jackson Brown and. But my dad also loves. He's a guitar player, and so he loves like classic rock, like Pink Floyd and Eric Clapton and Stevie Ray Vaughan and blah blah blah.
Yeah.
So I definitely grew up with electric guitar always going on in my life. So I think that maybe that's why I love electric guitar so much. I don't know. Pink Floyd's one of my favorite bands, so maybe that's why.
Were you passionate about music from like a young age?
Yeah, I started writing songs when I was 14.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a more of like a necessity than like something you have to do.
Yeah, at this point I tried not to do it. Like I tried not to be a musician and I was like I quit music. And then life got so shitty not doing it that I just picked up a guitar and wrote a song again, and then I was like, okay, I guess I'm doing this.
Yeah. What kind of music was in the house when you were growing up?
I grew up in a very, very strict religious
Same.
environment. So it was only whatever was something you could purchase at the Christian bookstore. Not to say that I didn't desperately try and get a hold of whatever I could from friends with less strict rules. And thankfully, MTV was, like, I was born in 1980, so if you can do the math on that, like, MTV was just being kind of prolific in its own sense. And somehow we had cable at the time, and my parents didn't realize that MTV was just music all the time, so that was kind of my education outside of Christian music. But
MTV
the
was
one,
cool.
it was.
Emphasis on was.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was like actually music videos all the time.
Not like
cool.
what's an example of a reality? This is not the actual name of one, but like 16 and Pregnant. I feel like is that actually a show? That might be.
Probably is.
Teenage Mom.
I'll let
Yeah.
you know if we get a cease and desist from them.
That's fine. Yeah, we can.
This hasn't even aired yet, and it's
Yeah.
they send a carrier
Yeah.
pigeon.
But I think because of your restrictions, you really dove into listening to music and finding your own love for it.
Yeah, the only thing that was a workaround was that my dad was really into guitar music as well. He was a guitar player, but not really, didn't really get past like the main 4 cowboy chords really.
Yeah.
But always encouraged me to play, and
Like you like shredders, right?
yeah, there was that era of Eric Johnson and Steve Vai and.
Ingve Malmsteen. No.
Not so much him, but like Joe Satriani. Those like
Just Satriani, yeah.
those monster guitar players that were coming out of like that.
Everybody who wanted to be Eddie Van Halen.
Yeah, Eddie. There's Eddie, and then it kind of then there was a bunch of people that were all really great. And I
Everybody that
remember-
could play as fast or faster than Eddie without the feel.
What denomination growing up?
It was considered non-denominational. My mom was Methodist, and my dad was a Catholic growing up. So I think whatever that version of Christianity that didn't adhere to anything, but ended up being kind of sort of its own little.
Methodist is kind of like Catholic light. That's interesting.
Catholic light?
Yeah, Catholic light. Yeah.
Diet
Yeah,
Catholic.
I mean they
Diet
had a
Catholic.
whole era of not being churchy at all, and then when they started having kids, they started sort of realizing that they had to be
Really?
responsible.
Yeah.
Yeah, big time hippies. I was born in a log cabin, so literally like a cabin made out of logs.
Hell yeah.
In the woods. So they were very much hippies, and then the Jesus movement happened in the 80s, and they got kind of swept up in that, and that was my entire childhood. So.
It's like when Stephen Stills and Dave Crosby and everybody started going Christian. When the money started running out. Like, we gotta come out with some stuff, y'all.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
I'm sorry if you said, but is this also Seattle or?
I
I
grew up
was just about to ask that.
Close.
Yeah, actually, I grew up in Corvallis, Oregon. So, obviously, Portland, Oregon, being the big city in Oregon, Corvallis just being a college town there. But still considered the Northwest. So,
Yeah.
same weather patterns, same moody nature. For
I
sure.
know. It's supposed to
Cosine
get
on the
on.
Moody. Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you guys find one another before moving to Nashville, or?
No.
Well, we met at
Oh,
yeah.
Yeah.
She
Good job.
She
Kind
was
of on the
looking
same
for a job.
timeline.
Yeah, I was working there and I was acting as a manager because there wasn't one.
Did music bring you guys here?
Yeah, yeah, separately, obviously.
I'll say.
Yeah.
I mean, I came here because of music, but I actually came here because I was escaping a different life.
Yeah.
Start fresh, start new. Yeah.
What are you listening to like in the last like week?
Listening to? Well, I am been listening to a ton of Foo Fighters because I am becoming a front woman for an all-femme Foo Fighters tribute band.
Fingernails Are Pretty? That's fucking awesome.
Yeah, I'm the front woman for like touring outside of Nashville.
That's fucking awesome.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
I have 20 songs to learn.
Oh shit.
Yeah.
Well, that's 24.
I already know 4, so 20. But
That's very exciting. Is there any shows coming up?
our first out-of-town show is in Chattanooga. I think it's July 28th.
Right
So, but in town, we're keeping it like Angie. She's the brains behind all of it, and I believe we're keeping it like a featuring local talent, like the whole like rotating vocalist kind of concept in town, but then just one lead vocalist like on the road,
That's
because
what's
it would
up.
be impossible to take a million people, but
After this, I'm headed to Cobra to see Flummox. They're playing there.
oh, right on.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love
Fucking
Allie.
best.
Yeah, she's awesome.
What was I gonna say?
And Max,
Yeah.
but like Allie is in Fingernails Are Pretty, so
Yeah. Flummox is fucking awesome.
yeah, they're badass.
What I was gonna say? Oh yeah, what have you been listening to?
Kind of all over the place, to be honest. So, I would have to literally look at my
Yeah.
search on,
It's a big
on
question.
Apple Music.
Yeah.
You listen to a lot of obscure stuff.
Well, yeah, I enjoy recording music as well. I like the technical side, so I'll listen to something for its like
Okay.
the technical quality of it or the vibe of it. I was listening to, for vibe, like I was listening to Beck's album Sea Change. Are you familiar with that at all?
Yeah, it's an old one, right?
Came out early 2000s, I think, and it's a very sad acoustic record that Nigel Godrich produced, and it has.
Is that the one with Lost Cause on it?
Yep.
Yeah, that's a good record.
Yes.
I love Beck.
Sonically, it's like it's kind of a footprint. Yeah. So honestly, if you ask me like what music I'm listening to, it's like whatever I've been working on in the studio, plus like YouTube videos about how some producer got their drum sound or something crazy, something lame like that. Yeah, that's not a very good answer.
It's the true answer.
It's the closest to the truth. Yeah.
Yeah. Hard segue. Do you guys have any ghost stories?
Ghost?
All right, let me clarify. Like, anything you can't explain with logic.
Yeah. You
have a lot.
you sound like you do. Oh, I actually do, but I don't know. I mean, I guess she would be fine with me talking about it.
You can leave names out.
Okay, that's true, but if she ever watches this, she's gonna know it's exactly like her story. But well, 2 things actually. My mother, when her sister died in a car crash, unfortunately, her watch stopped like at that time. And so that was crazy. And then one of my best friends, her mother died from breast cancer, and like they had like a life ceremony or celebration thing for her life, not a funeral, like a life celebration. And then that night, there was a picture that the husband put up on the mantle of her. And then that night, that picture fell down, hit a vase. The vase fell down, crashes on the floor, and inside is this note that she had wrote a long time ago.
Wow.
And it was like a note like, bless this house, thank you, and no one knew it was in there. And then they found it that.
Holy shit.
That gives me goosebumps. I'm just like, what? Like, and they only discovered it because of the photo that was put right above it that fell. I mean,
That's
it's just
crazy.
the timing and everything. I mean, who knows? Like, yeah, you didn't do a good job hanging the photo, but like, but still, you know, it's pretty
That's
wild.
fucking wild.
Yeah.
Anything coming to mind?
I mean, yeah, again, being raised in the church, it was a very, like, spirituality was a very big part of it, and, like,
I was raised as a
supernatural.
Jehovah's Witness, so
Okay.
I feel you.
Wow.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't know.
I was also homeschooled, so I was like very fucking sheltered till I was like 18.
Yeah.
I had a couple years of being homeschooled, which they were fine. It was like 5th and 6th grade. And then I went to the school that was in the church. So I was sheltered within like a very like 200 person.
Cannot leave the community.
Yeah, but it's not about that. It's basically the idea has always been like that like angels and demons always have existed, and they're always just beyond our sight or whatever.
Yeah.
And they're at war, and they're fighting for our souls and all this stuff. And that was taught as like de facto. That's the truth. So I've always, there's never like I never needed convincing because I was raised that way.
Right.
And so
Interesting.
my version of it after living in the church environment is that it's maybe a little different, but it sort of is like in a pragmatic way of like that's very, very much a possibility.
Oh yeah, I'm with you on that.
Yeah.
I don't think they've got it exactly right, but I also don't think like the Bible's supposed to be taken exactly literally. So it's like if you think the earth is 5,000 years old, you're not understanding what's being told to you in the story. And that's like people have only thought that for like 500 years. Like ancient Jews didn't think the world was 5,000 years old.
No.
It's yeah. But yeah, angels and demons.
Yeah, there's an incident that the first thing I thought of was my younger brother. He had really bad, he had asthma really bad, and he was in the hospital a few times because of really bad asthma attacks. And one unexplainable event was there's this televangelist named Benny Hinn. I'm not sure if you've heard of him.
Long time since I've heard that name.
Yeah. And he has an accent. I'm not sure where he was from originally, but he had this big shock of white hair, and there's a lot of like people falling over, being slain in the spirit, as they call
back
it.
Back in the day when you saw it on TV on the odd channels, like with Jimmy Stewart and Swaggart and all them. Yeah, Benny Hill. I remember the Benny Hill show.
So, but one day it was on the TV, and he had a show like a show on some Christian network, and he called out like that there's somebody watching that has asthma, and the Lord told me there's going to be healed and whatever, and then
Well, I'm sure there's a ton of people with asthma watching, but
of course,
Yeah.
but
That was kind of a gimme.
That was that was the end of it for him. Like that was like my mom heard that happen, and then of course at the time she was very much in belief of that being a possibility, but
then he didn't have it.
Yeah, like
anymore?
it went away. So it's like, how do you explain that? I mean, there's a lot of science that you could use, but the immediacy of it,
Sure.
is kind of it's an interesting story.
To take a kind of like pragmatic view of it, I think like faith itself is really powerful. It's like
placebo effect.
Yeah, exactly. Where it's like it doesn't really matter what you believe in as long as you believe in something, even if it's just you. It's like that the shit's powerful. I think there's a grain of truth in all religions. Like they've all kind of got it figured out a little bit.
When it comes to healing, people don't realize that no drug cures anything.
The mind.
Your brain releases chemicals to cure things.
Wow.
They've discovered and I don't know the name of it, but there's a hormone that releases during bravery. And that chemical is the strongest fighter, the strongest anti-carcinogen known to man.
Wow.
And it destroys cancer. And your brain emits it when you have to exude bravery.
Damn.
nothing cures us except ourselves.
So if you're in like fight or flight situations all the time, you like cure cancer.
Yeah, or the stress could kill you. Either
Yeah,
way.
true.
That's what they talk about.
Yeah.
You know, like
All over.
stress is the biggest killer on the planet.
Stress, yeah. Stress is so toxic.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
It affects you physically in a major way.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
I know one last crazy story.
Yeah, go ahead.
Having to do with stress and how it... Because, like, holding up negative energy, the form of stress. I have another friend whose aunt... So her cousin died in the army, like, I don't know where, in Iraq or something, but anyway, died. And the aunt didn't grieve at all, and she refused to be sad about it, refused to grieve, blah, 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 blah. And then out of nowhere is diagnosed with stage 4 lung cancer. And my friend is getting her hair done or something, and was telling the story to the hairdresser, and the hairdresser is very spiritual, and she was like, wow, that is so crazy. Do you know where we store grief? In the lungs. And so it's just like, she just held on to all of this and did not let the energy out, and she didn't grieve at all, and she just didn't heal, and so boom, like stage 4 lung cancer.
That's wild.
Yeah. I mean,
Wow.
I don't know.
Do you, no one really knows, like, some people act like they know, but no one knows the answer. But do you guys have any inclinations about, like, what happens after we die?
I don't know the answer to that. Well, no one does, but, like, I do believe in energy and, like, recycling of the energy. Like, I don't know if anything ever, like, is new or old or, like, goes
Sure.
away or whatever. But physically, I think we just decompose, definitely. I mean, of course we do.
Yeah.
But, like, I feel like the life source turns into some kind of energy.
Maybe, if I'm understanding, it's kind of like, not that, like, you continue as yourself, but the energy that makes you up is just kind of, like, dispersed. Is that
Yeah.
something like that?
Yeah, like, I don't believe in heaven or hell, like a physical place. I don't know where that would exist, but I don't know, I guess I haven't really thought too hard about, like, the psyche and if that gets... I mean, I don't know.
Yeah. It's,
It's...
life is fucking weird, and
Yeah.
we're all just, like, stumbling around, scared and confused.
Yeah, like, what is the purpose? Is
yeah.
there meaning?
That was my next question.
Yeah. I think
I,
we have to create our own meaning to cope.
Yeah. Yeah, life is what you make it.
Mm-hmm.
It's a gift, it's a curse, it's a wild ride.
Yeah. I think you're both lucky and cursed if you feel like you have a calling. Because you're lucky if you know that, because it can be your purpose. But you're also cursed because you might never be able to fulfill that to... like, you might never succeed in fulfill... Like, I guess you just have to define what your definition of success is.
Yeah.
But...
That's true.
Sometimes I'm like, I wish I just didn't have a dream. Like, sometimes I'm like, it would just be so much easier to wake up, go to work, get paid, spend money, and then, like, not have this passion, this, like, dream where it's, like, a struggle, But I wouldn't have it the other way. Like, I'm very grateful that I know what I need to do, at least.
I know what you mean. It's like, it's a lot more fulfilling than just doing human shit, but with that comes a lot of suffering.
Comes a lot of suffering.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's like not really something like you brought up earlier, like you tried to get away from music and it's like not an option.
Yeah.
And like, I feel that. I'm not a musician, but I write poetry and novels.
Mm-hmm.
I'm working on a fantasy novel right now.
Oh, right on.
Yeah. And it's like, I don't really have a choice in that. It's like I'm being pulled along.
Yeah.
What do you think happens after we die?
I'm open to the possibility of any. I mean,
Does anything seem more likely than anything else?
I think I like the idea of the concept of recycling in the sense of maybe what some people call reincarnation, or of energy itself not ever being, if energy is just moves places and it doesn't ever disappear, energy doesn't stop being energy, then if you apply that to what we think of ourselves, probably our ego will die, probably our bodies will definitely go, but the consciousness part of it, I'm not sure. Obviously, I mean, maybe that's the ego talking, saying, well, at least my consciousness will be passed on to, if I'm a good person, maybe I'll live a life as a rabbit that doesn't get eaten by a eagle or some crazy shit like that. But
it's just so weird. Like, it's weird. It's weird. Like,
yeah, it's weird.
It is.
Well,
weird.
it's just so weird because, I mean, I haven't been around a lot of death, but, like, my cat died. And it's so weird seeing the same body, but there's no life in it anymore. And it's like, so then it's like, what is life?
Right.
Because it wasn't just like, you turn it on and you turn it off, you know? It was like, he had a personality, like, it was like a whole thing. And it's just, I mean, it's, I don't know.
It's fucking weird. It is.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know, like, I want to believe in, like, that like, what I am is, like, just piloting this, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And not, like, that, like, intrinsically tied to it. And, like, I've had some, like, crazy DMT trips that kind of, like, confirmation bias make me think that more. But, like, at the end of the day, we don't know. And, like, I think, like, the humility in that's really important, where it's like, we really don't know fucking shit.
No, we don't. But it is amazing how powerful the brain is. Like, I don't know why, but, like, even today, I'm, like, getting a little, like, detached, panicky. And I don't know if you've ever had a panic attack or whatever, but it's like, it's just it's a reminder that, like, you're lucky when you're in control, and then when you're, like, out of control, you're like, holy shit, you know, like, lost, like, you look at your arms, but they're not your arms anymore, and it's, you know, it's, like, a very detached, like, you are detached from yourself, and so it's, like, our body is just a vessel.
Yeah.
You know?
That's what makes
Like,
sense to me, too.
I
Like,
find it really interesting how each extreme, meaning you're psyched out, you're having a depressive episode, and the other end would be you're having a great day, your mental health is really good at the moment, you're feeling stronger than ever. Each state of mind really betrays the other one. When you're doing great, you feel on top of the world, like you can conquer everything.
Mm-hmm.
When you're feeling bad, you're like, I'm not worth shit. I can't do anything.
Yeah.
And I agree that it's weird that we go back and forth, but we never learn that, like, maybe the middle is where we should be focused.
Yeah, balance. It is crazy, too, because it can flip on a dime. Like, you can be in a great mood and then be in a fucking shitty
Get
mood
a
just
bad
instantly.
text or something, yeah.
Yeah.
Sort of jumping back, if that's okay.
Yeah.
Are you guys familiar with Neil deGrasse Tyson?
As much as his
He
show
plays a
and all that
scientist
stuff.
on TV.
Yeah.
Yes.
He wrestled in college apparently.
I like him. I'm going on record. Fuck y'all.
That's fucking great.
I saw a TikTok clip earlier about how he, literally earlier today, and your guys' conversation just touched on it, about how when he dies, he wants to be buried and not cremated, because I guess, I don't really know how to confirm this, but when you're burned, your energy just kind of dissipates into the atmosphere, and it's not as usable by the earth.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas if you're buried, all the energy that was used to make your body and whatever was left over when it was still running gets to decompose and support the stuff around it.
Yeah.
In
Yeah, they have
other
those
words-
like mushroom suits.
Well, I mean, in other words, you get more nutrients from decomposing things than you do ash.
Yeah.
is what that
Yeah.
means.
I like those mycelium caskets that I've seen a few times on the internet.
That shit's dope.
It's such an uncomfortable concept. You're just like
Nah.
imagining like bodies in the forest just like lying there, you know, like
Well,
I mean it's
I would mind being. I would prefer to probably be. Again, doesn't because I will be dead. It won't matter. But my ego says I don't want to be torn apart by like vultures necessarily. But
Oh,
like
yeah, I
the
forgot
idea
about
of being
animals.
put in a hole and then having the earth assume my minerals and nutrients and
What the worms do,
fats
not
and
the
all that
worms.
things. Let the
Grubs.
yeah.
The worms and the grubs eat you, then the birds eat them.
yeah.
Yeah, it's weird that like I
the
like
bird-
those mycelium things too. That's cool. But like it's weird that like we put people in boxes in the ground,
Yeah.
and it's like just to like keep it from getting to you, and it's like that's
Right.
kind of redundant. Kind of defeats the purpose a little bit.
It's kind of a waste of resources.
Yeah.
really.
Yeah, it's again, it's a waste. Yeah, it's an. I feel like it's an ego thing.
It's
It-
a way for the Undertaker to
Totally.
make money.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
industry itself is.
It is an industry.
Insane.
Death industry.
I mean, hell, wedding rings are really new. Engagement rings are really new. That was not something that was always done. That was
What about
I mean, it's
promise
cool if you like
rings?
jewelry,
What
but
about
you know,
fellowship
like
rings.
fellowship
Yeah.
rings.
I don't know.
Fellowship of the Ring.
It's just like a
Don't
form
get me
of
started.
control.
even our holidays that were brought to us by Hallmark.
Oh yeah.
'Cause, we got to sell more.
It's a way to make
clothes.
money.
I won't. Yeah, I don't acknowledge February 14th as a real day of the year for many reasons.
Well, because bad stuff happens to you around that day.
Always.
I don't acknowledge today as a holiday, even though a bunch of Star Wars.
Hey, May the 4th be with you.
Nice.
You mean last week?
Yeah, last week. Because
Today's
today
the
is
11th.
right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Nice. Good call.
I think you should have him in this chair sometime. He's holding it together.
I'm a good listener sometimes.
Where do you guys think art comes from? Because like we were talking about how it's like mandatory for an artist to do that. It's not really optional. Like for me, inspiration. I have a hard time like forcing the muse to come. Like if I sit down to write, that's going to be not as productive as if it just like sparks and it like comes to me.
You should never try to force a muse.
But like, what do you guys think that is? Does it start with you? Do you think it comes from
No, it
something?
definitely does not start with.
Is like a radio antenna just picking up on stuff?
I think it depends on your style. I don't know where the passion or the desire comes from or the need. I would say that it varies person to person. I don't want to interrupt you. But we are very different creatives. And there's like, speaking from songwriting, like everyone creates differently. Like you're a writer, I'm a songwriter. And I think even in songwriting, there are many different ways to approach that outlet. And for me, I always say it this way, I write from the inside out. Like, I only write about my feelings and I only write about my experiences. I don't storytell. Like, I just can't do it. I don't have the imagination for that. And so for me, it's just an outlet for like my feelings and my emotions and what I'm going through. And so when I am manic, like swinging from good and bad and like, it's the unstableness within me that leads to my songwriting. And sure, I am afraid of being in the middle because I'm afraid of, like having to force it out, if like I am ever like at peace finally, because it's like when I'm pissed off, I can write a really great like punk song, you know, and when I'm like sad, the beautiful melodies come out of me and like gold lyrics and shit. So it's like,
if I can
tough.
I wanted to, for the record, defend myself. I didn't mean that.
No one's trying to offend you.
What? No.
You said defend yourself, so you took offense?
No, just the concept I think that you were maybe touching on, Alex, is that like I don't personally believe that art, like being, let's say I'm an artist, like that's a tree, that's a camera, that's a chair. I'm an artist. It's not like I came out of the ground an artist. I think art, I think creativity, I think the things that are vessels for capturing whatever might be beautiful or ugly or make you feel more like a human being, those don't exist. They exist out here as well as, I guess, inside of us at the same time. And some people maybe just, like the antenna analogy kind of works for me in that it's hard to be creative if you're not listening.
Yeah.
Where do the ideas come from? Well, I feel like if you're a musician, you take everything that you've heard over the course of your entire lifetime, even before you were born, you know, that all gets stored in your brain and in your body somewhere. And then when you try and recreate it, then it's like, why does the way that I play a chord sound different than somebody else? It's like, well, there's, you know, physiology involved as well, but the way that I interpret it is through that filter of my own just very narrow, you know, existence. But if I was just making art from my existence, then it wouldn't mean anything to anyone else but just me.
That's not true. That's not true. Sometimes the most specific, like the more specific you can get, the more people relate to it. Like lyrically anyway.
There was I was talking to someone recently that was saying that like she wrote something very, very, very specific, like deliberately about something specific, and she was surprised how many people took different interpretations on it.
Yeah. People like, that's like, I don't know, we feel like we're so alone, but that's one of the beautiful things I find in putting music out and not keeping it for myself is I find community or like connections with people who are like, the same thing happened to me, like, or like, I totally relate to that, or blah, blah. And yeah, it might be a different thing, it means something different to you, but it's nice to find that we have a ton of similarities as humans. Like,
yeah.
I think this relationship it seems super valuable because you guys clearly don't agree. And I think that, much like being an artist itself, it's got to make it hard sometimes. But I think from that is going to come ideas that neither one of you would touch on. Because, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but when there's conflict, it probably doesn't feel good, but maybe you can come out on the other side. If it checks both of your boxes, you've maybe gotten somewhere.
Yeah, and I mean, there's definitely like conflict, or at least uncomfortableness or challenging leads to growth.
Yeah.
That's also what people buy.
Yeah.
And they tell
it's
you
marketable.
In screenwriting, you write conflict. Nobody wants to hear us sit and talk about how good the coffee is. They want us to. They love to watch us scream at each other about who made the better coffee.
That's a really good point, Neef. There is no story without a conflict. That's kind of an essential thing to storytelling. Is like
It's the characters reaching a goal.
Yeah.
And in order to reach a goal, it's just understood there's going to be conflict. If there's not, then reaching the goal is like picking up your drink. You know, it's like there's really...
Yeah.
The story was very quick and uninteresting.
There's I was looking at a writing prompt the other day that's like there's like man versus nature, man versus man, man versus self, man versus technology, man versus God, man versus author. I thought it was an interesting one. But there's like always a conflict. And I guess it doesn't always look like that. but that's like that's good writing when you can kind of like mask it a little bit.
When you're in a band and you're writing music together, it's the same as writing. It's a conversation. You know, I learned that a lot from jazz, where, you know, what you're really hearing. That's why people say, well, a lot of instrumental stuff has got to be very progressive because it's got to hold your attention well enough. And if you try to put lyrics on it, it ends up just not, it's too campy, or it's too on the nose, or it's too like this, because sonically you're being able to talk in words that don't exist. So, you know, the best jazz, you hear conversation going on between the instruments. It's a table. You know, it's like Miles said, you know, it's jazz. You learn the song, but when you go to play it, that's life. Mm-hmm. It's happening.
I like that.
So you gotta work your way around it. You know, you draw the plan. You get a map to go down the street somewhere. That's fine, but there might be road construction.
Improvise.
So you gotta improvise.
That reminds me. What was that? The Eastern music you were showing me, that like it's actually is a conversation. Like the notes themselves have, they're like syllables.
The tabla drum, the way it's taught, and they believe that their God played the drum. And when he discovered this, he gave words to every hit. That's why when you listen to like Shakti or any of them, you'll hear them going tigada tagada tigada tagada back and forth to each other. There's only, see, Susie Sue used it in Kiss Them For Me many years ago. And you hear them coming in, and that's what they're doing. That's tabla players singing with their mouth. Tigada tagada tigada tagada. And everything they sing represents a strike. Because hand drumming, as many people don't understand, is much more than keeping tempo, smacking something. You know, there's so many techniques, so it's just very...
It's like its own language.
It is its own language. Absolutely its own language.
It's wild. To kind of pull it back to what we were talking about earlier, I think maybe there's like a compromise to be had, like when it comes to like where it comes from. Because I think like I'll get like a rough idea for something, or maybe just like a rough idea for something, and then like I think the logic, like the part that's me, kind of has to work it out and like turn it into something.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think you're exactly right. Like there's the spark, like this came from somewhere, and you can only take that so far, and then you have to bring your tools in and shape it into something. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I think my formula is like I'll get the chorus and at least one verse, you know, like through the channeling whatever energy, and then I'll, you know, solidify that and record it, and then that's the song, and then I'll be like, okay, now it's time to like use my brain and finish the song, which is like not as fun, but it's still kind of a challenge. So that's like what my style is. But the initial part of the song was definitely like, speak to me, you know,
This comes to you.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah. I think maybe there is something to be said about like art that like, okay, so like I don't want to use like Taylor Swift as an example, because like her latest record's actually really good, but like
she's about to play a 3-show monstrosity and shut the town down.
I've actually never listened to a Taylor Swift album.
The new one's pretty good. Newer one.
Okay.
I
don't feel bad. Neither have I.
It's like I just can't get myself to do it.
But like I think there's definitely like there's art that just exists to sell. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's a shame, but yes.
And I think there's an art form to that though, like the industry hit.
An art to marketing.
Yeah, it's like advertising.
Yeah.
There's an art to advertising, and that's not necessarily like coming from some place. So maybe the answer is everything. Is like you can channel these things, you can just make it up with your mind, and there's not some external influence, and then also like a combination of the two.
Yeah. Well, here's a question. Can you be an artist within, but you're in like where you grew up in your life environment or whatever like kept you from ever discovering it or from ever letting it, like, you know, like what's it called, like nature versus nurture, like that kind of concept with your like with an artist.
Yeah, I think this makes me think about like I'm a big believer in magic, witchcraft, and I think we all have that in us, and it's like something.
You think everybody does?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. We're all witches, but some people, what happens is there's some kind of traumatic incident. It's usually related to trauma, like an awakening. But this can be induced by like mushrooms or acid or something like that too. But I would count that in with trauma. It's like controlled trauma that you're inducing on yourself. But there's usually some kind of like trigger that like awakens people. And I think this happens to a lot of, I would consider like artists in that category where it's like, that is magic. I think the reason, this is kind of a rant, but the reason I think people nowadays put magic in this box of like exclusively fiction, where it's like shooting fire out of your hands or flying around like Disney, you know?
Yeah.
And it's like, I think that is completely missing the point. It's like people don't believe in magic because it is right under your nose. Like, this is magic. Like, I'm making syllables.
Doing magic tricks, which are parlor tricks, is an illusionist. He's not actually a magician.
Right.
You
Sleight
just
of
like
hand isn't magic.
being able to be in control of your own power.
Yeah, I think magic's very, very mundane. Like, what we're doing right, like, I'm just making these lip flaps, and somehow you guys are able to understand what I'm saying. Like, that's nuts.
Well,
that's
that's nuts.
nuts.
Sensory, because when you have an illusionist, it's what you see.
Yeah. I mean, there is a level of, like, real magic to illusionists.
With words, it has to do with what you feel, and the amazing thing about that is it's, as King Bozo put, pounded air patterns convey messages. And that's what everything is. It's a pattern of pounded air, which is why I'm such an advocate for free speech, because the fact that me shaping my mouth and vibrating my vocal cords can cause so much is, you know, kind of weak to me. You know, it makes me feel like the world's kind of weak if just this can really do so much.
It really can, though. The world is kind of weak.
Yeah, humankind is definitely weak.
So that's and that puts you on the
humankind sucks, dude. Get good, dude.
It puts you on the angle of saying, is humankind weak, or is my magic that powerful?
Both. Yeah, it's yeah, but like
try to silence me, Alice.
But the reason I went on that is you were talking about like maybe there's a lot of artists. I think this is where you're going. Is like there's a lot of artists that maybe just never, like, it was in them, but they went a different path, and it's like the nature versus nurture part of it. It's probably a mix of both. Like, there's something in you that like has to like, but an event has to like trigger something.
Yeah, I absolutely. I mean, even like with my old batch of players I used to play with and my new one, like, that is night and day for me. Like, it opened up a whole new channel of like an access point within me or something where it's like, okay, like I have even more room to grow now, you know. And it's so like if I didn't expand in that sense, like I wouldn't have found this part of me.
Yeah.
So like, what about songwriting duos or even bands that write together? How lucky it is that those people met each other.
Yeah.
So to your initial question, are there artists just out there existing unactualized? Yes, for pure chance of like maybe you didn't find the variable that's going to get you to make this thing. Mm-hmm. But there's another version. There's one guy in my life who I would say is a savant, and he is capable of making the most beautiful things I've ever heard, and he just cannot get it together to finish it and make it something for other people. And for the longest time, I tried to like help him.
Yeah.
And that was my immaturity until I realized, like, maybe he's the truest of artists.
Right.
Where he's like this feral energy, and the goal of making a dope album, it's not even in his wheelhouse.
Yeah.
Like,
You're right.
There are many musicians on that like that.
Mm-hmm.
like how
They
many...
can play amazing stuff. I'll get them in a studio, and I can't get them to go through an entire song.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I mean, literally, it's amazing players, and then
Yeah.
you're like, okay, roll tape, and then they start to play, and they're like,
Yeah.
oh, check out this thing I just...
Yeah, I guess there's just,
You know,
so
and
many
it's
avenues, so many types of artists.
There are,
Yeah.
when it comes to music, there's music. I talk about there's a musician and there's an instrument player. And it's not saying that if you're an instrument player you don't know music, but some people just don't really care about music and expanding music. They just play their instrument. And that's kind of can be brought in any realm of art. There's some people that strictly do it for the money. They say, and at one time in my life when I was much younger, I wrote songs to pay my rent to sell at Curb Records.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if you listen to my stuff that I put out, it's almost nothing like the stuff I wrote. But there's still me in there,
Yeah.
So, because my angle is different. I'm not going, what do I feel? I'm going, what do they want to hear?
Yeah.
What would Taylor Swift say?
Yeah.
Back to Taylor Swift. Do you guys believe in aliens? Let me clarify, because there's definitely fucking aliens out there, right? Like, it's way too fucking infinite. But, like, but do you think aliens have ever been here or are currently here? Or what do you think about that?
What do you think?
I think, the answer, I think what you said with it's like definitely, I think it's definitely a yes thing, because the fact that we're trying to define the way that, let's just make it really basic or whatever, is like the way that we humans are trying to define the way that energy moves around the universe, and saying like we're here and aliens have never been here. Let's say aliens are just energy like we are. It's to say like they've never been because we can't prove that they have been, or whatever. So it's an egomaniac. Only an egomaniac would think that like our perception of what we think is the world around us is the de facto, the end of the line, end of the story, no way around it, fact. And that's what I have. I love science, and I wish I had more time to be a scientist and a musician, or whatever. It's like 2 lifetimes worth of things I'm fascinated in, but when scientists put everything into a box that can be proven by, the scientific theory or whatever, it's like, well, you're missing out on, the fact that you can't actually prove it. Like,
Yeah.
if you can prove to me that there are no aliens, can you also, like, if you can prove that there aren't, can you also prove that there are? Like, you can use the same process against itself, so.
I think it's fair to say, like, who's to say that there are creatures on this planet, like, deep in the sea, or even, like, bugs or some shit that aren't the aliens? Like, we always think aliens are going to reflect us as humans, like, they're going to be some type of human-esque form. But, it would in my mind, make more sense that they would be more like a sea cucumber or something, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like extraterrestrial.
There's a theory that mycelium and mushrooms themselves are not of this earth.
That makes more sense. That makes more
They're
sense to
fucking
me.
weird. They're not plants. They're not meat.
Yeah.
They're different.
The largest living organisms on the planet.
And they clearly still, all life on this planet, like, they don't communicate with words, but still communicate. Like, even trees. Trees communicate with other trees via their root systems and, like, all this other shit. Like,
amazing that you say that mycelium is found to actually regulate the forest with trees. They will take the nutrients and lock it from one that doesn't need it as much and send it to another one.
Yeah.
So mycelium has actually been proven to be smarter than humans.
Yeah, so I mean that makes more sense to me because it's such a human thing to do to be like, surely the aliens are gonna kind of be just like us, but that doesn't make any sense to me.
Yeah, I know what you mean. It's like it might not like there might be life out there that's not carbon based at all. Like doesn't maybe even alive in the way that we think of it.
Well, you asked I'm curious. You asked the question about aliens and your interest in your studies in magic. How do aliens fit into? If what I understand of magic, which is very little, is mostly energy based and harnessing energy and controlling it. How does that for you, for your understanding? How do aliens fit into that world? Are aliens just archangels that sit up somewhere in the tree of life, or is it like how does that work for you?
You're really good at this.
I know. It's like, you might be onto
Insane
something.
curiosity.
Yeah. No, it's a great fucking question. I believe in interdimensional life and extraterrestrial life. So like life from out in the physical universe, but also life on other planes. I think.
Like Fringe or whatever that. What was that? What was that TV show?
I remember that.
Fringe.
Yeah. Yeah.
Parallel universes. Is that what
Yeah.
you mean? Or?
So like when I think of dimensions, actually Neil deGrasse Tyson has a interesting thing about this, where it's like we're three-dimensional, so it's like a fourth dimension. I wouldn't think of it like a parallel universe, more like another metric of space. Like so like if you have Neil deGrasse Tyson talks about like if you have like a sheet of paper and you put rocks on it, there's only a certain number of rocks you can put on it, but if you start stacking them, you can go infinitely up. Mm-hmm. So it's like instead of three dimensions, just another axis of when I say space, I don't mean outer space, but like
So what happens in that dimension? This like I don't. How do we exist in that dimension, or don't we?
It's hard to think about.
That gets into the question of existence in general.
Yeah, it's weird, right? Because like, I'm going to use an ant as an example, even though an ant actually is three-dimensional, but it kind of like it's just looking straight ahead of itself. Everything is like on a like one plane. Like I'm sure ants can look up if they want, right? But it's like everything's just kind of flat to them. So like if you were to like put your finger down on it, it's like where the fuck did that come from? It's like I actually don't know what another dimension would be like, because I mean we're three-dimensional beings. It's just hard for me to wrap my head around.
Yeah.
But I think there might also be like parallel realities, like where like there's another version of us, like just slightly different, like infinitely. Maybe all of that. Maybe all of those things.
There's also the idea that your reality is the sum of your senses. And what we see is a spectrum of light, which is a wave, just like what we can hear, which is a spectrum of sound. And there's spectrums outside that we can't hear, and there's spectrums outside of light we can't see. So, you know, it's like when your cat's staring at something and you think it's hallucinating, it might just be seeing on a different frequency that we can't see. There could be shit flying around us all over the place. We just can't see it's there because we don't catch that frequency.
Yeah.
I love that concept of, I heard from some podcast that I listened to, I hope it's true, I hope it's not just fake, but someone was saying that bees move so much more quickly about the world, and the way that their bodies move, that they don't see us. If we were standing still, they wouldn't see us because we'd be moving too slowly.
Wow.
And so that kind of feels like, if we're talking about spirituality, it's like that kind of is like a good, for me, like a good allegory to like God or the universe or the higher power, if there is one. It's like we're too busy moving around, we're just moving too fast to actually see this giant thing that's standing in front of us.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. It's like,
Like quantum physics, where I was talking about the other day, where if you're part of it, you can't observe it.
yeah,
And so by observing it, you have to be separated, and that's like you're saying, the higher being or that other plane could be the observer. And we cannot see the observer, but the observer cannot be involved because then they wouldn't be the observer.
I think
that's interesting.
I'm of the opinion that we are all the same person. That all life, like what the thing inside of us, the soul, I guess, is identical. Like it all comes from the same place, so it's the same person. But then like our biology and our experiences make us different. So like, I don't think there's anything intrinsically different about us except those things, except like physics, I guess.
And is the physics what makes us hate each other and why racism and genocide exists? Because of the differences. I mean,
Yeah.
it doesn't make
Yeah.
sense to me. But we're all.
Maybe that's
doing the
another
same
way.
thing.
That's all.
Sorry
That's all
for
Al
cutting you
Williams
off.
thinks. That's all because we don't have anything else to do.
We're not being chased by dinosaurs anymore.
No, we're not. We get depressed because, well, we don't have to run down elk. We get anxiety because we don't have real anxiety of tigers trying to eat us. So we, sit around and
Do this, like talk about how life works.
right,
Yeah.
and then
Maybe all this is a way to find common ground back to the where art comes from, because whether your theory or not is correct, it seems like we're all in agreement that one's experiences certainly shape who they are, and experiences could be information from the universe shaping how you make something from within. So maybe both things are correct, that like maybe it's not an active antenna, maybe it's like a historical one where one's own history informs how they create things. And if you sit the same person in front of if you sit different people in front of the same problem, it'll get solved different ways.
Yeah. It's like I think like if we imagine like Neuralink, like the AI learning stuff, like integrating with that, I think we'll kind of like reach kind of like a hive mind where it's like we are different, but then like we all come back together. It's like a wave coming in and out. But
Kind of like human centipede, more or less.
no.
I like this analogy.
Oh no.
That's funny.
Less if I get to choose.
Well, do you get to choose?
No, you will be human centipede. I think. I forgot what I was gonna say.
Sorry.
No, you're good. Yeah, it's just a giant human centipede. Yeah. Oh, I think John Lennon said it best. I am he, as you are he, as you are me, and we are one, and we are all together. That makes a lot of sense to me. Where it's like, there's
See how they run like pigs from a gun.
See how they fly.
I'm crying.
Sorry, that's just my favorite part.
It made so much sense till it got to that part.
I love nonsensical shit. Nonsensical shit, like, in a way, makes sense.
Makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
There's actually, that reminds me of another quote. Lewis Carroll, the guy that wrote Alice in Wonderland, he said, take care of the sound and the sense takes care of itself. Basically, if it sounds good, it makes sense.
Yeah.
And I think there's a lot of truth to that.
Yeah. I think a lot of things make sense instinctively, and then the more we try to, like, dissect it and actually, like, put into words why something makes sense, it doesn't make sense anymore.
Yeah. It's like the more you try to wrap your head around it, there's more questions.
Yeah, and I think that's really, like, a fault of the language that we know. Because I think more often than we realize, we put our thoughts into the English language, and that is a hindrance, because the English
Yeah.
language really is not a good language for like expressing how we feel, or like how we like think, or like how we interact with each other.
American English isn't really even English. American English is so many languages.
I speak American.
Well,
Yeah,
like
there's
Chinese, for example, the characters,
Right.
a lot of them are actually just like concepts mashed together.
Yeah.
So to explain, I don't know, like to say lightning, it would be like, you know, like, I don't know. I don't actually know Chinese, but I have read this, and it would be like some poetic combination of like
a songwriter told me a songwriter friend of mine told me many years ago. She said that the Japanese have words that describe things like the sound of water hitting
Yeah.
a leaf, and it's not saying the sound of water hitting a
Yeah.
leaf, and
Right.
it's not just any water hitting anything.
Mhm.
It is a word that describes that specific thing,
Yeah.
which is why their alphabet, which isn't really an alphabet, is so vast. It's most Asian writing is like that. It's
Yeah.
it's still
it's like
very
poetry
symbolic.
in a
And
the language
and the
itself.
kanji,
Yeah.
and the kanji is there's a lot of people in Asian countries that can speak but not write, because the calligraphy is so vast, and it's way easier just to understand tonally and speak than it is to actually take the time of learning the calligraphy and the different nuances
Yeah.
of it.
To master a language like that would take a lifetime.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Segueing that like language into music, I'm not like I know theory and all that stuff, but for me personally, it's not important. Like, I mean, I'm not a studio musician or anything like that, but like, I think a lot of people in the music industry, especially if it isn't their way to just make money, like, they worry too much about the language. It's like, it's just sound. Like, chill out. Like, it's just, you're making noise. Like, you're making sound, you're making rhythm, you're saying something. Like, who gives a fuck if it's like G over D?
Right.
Or, you know what I mean? Like I understand that we have to speak language when we're like learning the songs and everything, but just it, like, as far as like adding intellect to something, because, you know, like, you're afraid of like other musicians analyzing your chord structure and thinking that you suck. Like, maybe it depends on genre, but at least like in the genre I'm in, like, you just make some noise, and like, if you love it, go for it. You know, if like it feels good, and just, I don't know. I went to music school, so I have that whole thing. I'm just like, you guys give way too many shits about like all this like theory and everything.
Yeah, there's a level of, I mean, real jazz, it's not about, and that goes back to ego, it's not about, did this person play the right thing?
Yeah.
It's about,
Playing the wrong thing is more powerful
it's about
sometimes.
we're playing,
Mm-hmm.
and what just happened,
Yeah.
and what am I going to do?
Yeah.
You know, it's not about, oh, they did the wrong thing, you know. When you get into pop music and stuff like that, that truly is about how catchy.
Yeah.
Because, you know, I mean, it doesn't matter, especially nowadays, it doesn't matter if the song has meaning or not.
I know.
You know, Rudy Gomez let me hear a song earlier. It came on the system, and he goes, listen to the song. He goes, this song is literally the dude just singing different lines, hook lines, from pop songs over the years.
That's cool.
And that's all it was, and it made no sense to listen to it, but it sounded like a great pop song, and it was being played in the club, and it was popular.
Yeah.
But literally, that's all he was doing, and I started listening and going, yeah, wow. But you know what? Titles cannot be copywritten.
Really?
Nope.
Can they be trademarked?
Yeah, I don't think you can have possession of words.
Yeah, you can't.
Okay.
Combinations of
A
words.
trademark
Right.
truly is a mark. It is a
There's
trademark.
plagiarism though,
It's a logo.
but that has
So
like
you can't
3
trademark a word.
X amount of words to like linked
'Cause
together. Or
that's the
something.
letters itself.
Yeah.
Talk
If
about
you-
language
if you-
being convoluted. Law is super fucking convoluted.
it's
Such a
on
weird
purpose.
thing.
Yeah, it's on purpose.
I'm sorry, I think I cut you off.
Oh.
It's like, what were we talking about?
Oh, well, I think we're talking about copywriting, which is super boring.
It is.
I was
It is
thinking
boring.
about
Yeah.
pop songs. Pop songs exist to, in my opinion, I'm just sort of like just thinking this through. saying
All
what I think
opinions are
about
subjective except for mine.
it.
Mine is fact.
It's a very subjective idea that I'm having, but if a pop song is the goal of it is for as many people as possible to remember, okay, this place and time, this person's name is associated with this song. And pop, to be famous, you have to have things associated with you. So, if you're a map maker, and the goal is to say follow this line to this destination, like wouldn't the most simple line, wouldn't the best map be the one that's the most simple?
Yep.
Because that gets you to that location with the most without the
If
most
it's updated,
confusion.
if it's not updated, you want more information.
Right. So
Because
if
you're
pop
like,
music is only
shit,
one
that
avenue.
7-Eleven's not there anymore, but on the map, it's like that thing's still here. So you.
Well, it
wouldn't
goes
want that.
back to when I first became a quote-unquote songwriter, going from being a poet and a jazz musician to actually trying to write songs. Because I had tried to write songs before, but they'd be too complex. And the woman I was dating at the time was a songwriter, probably the best I know. And she said, stop trying to be so damn complicated. Just play 3 goddamn chords.
You
and
dated
sing some
Avril
shit."
Lavigne?
Huh? Oh, no. And,
That was her song, right?
Simplicity.
I tracked you, man.
and really, that right there, same way with singing, because I really wasn't a singer, and I just got told, shut up and sing. Quit worrying about it,
Yeah.
just fucking sing,
Is that your point? Simplicity.
If the goal is if the goal is to say, take this step to get to this point, like if you're drawing a map, simplicity wins, because that you don't want to make a complex map that says you go here, you want to go here, but over here is this cool tree and over here is this cool rock. You're like, okay, you need to get to here, this is what you do. With pop music, I feel like it's the most direct, straight line, and most of the time, if you've listened to music, predictable and boring and formulaic, and eventually it stops becoming interesting, and you have to create new ways of saying the exact same thing over and over again, and then you run the risk of losing the art of the whole thing or whatever, if we're talking about that. Not to say, like, I have no problem with pop music. Like a good pop song, like the Bee Gees, like, man, these guys could write a pop song like a motherfucker.
Yeah.
That's the thing is, pop, now it can be genre, but pop just means popular. Jimi Hendrix was pop.
Yeah.
The Doors was pop. Bee Gees was pop.
Yeah.
They're not now.
I mean,
Yeah.
yeah,
You know.
Mozart and Bach are considered would be pop, because they are, everyone will,
They were
a lot
popular.
of people would recognize their
OG
Mozarts.
pop.
They were absolutely, at their time, they were the popular thing.
Still popular today.
Right.
Yeah.
And
Symphonies play what?
so, like what you're saying now with the quickest, it's following a format.
Yes. It's almost like
What is being sold already? How do I recreate that just different enough to get that funneled this way?
I like your comparison with the map making, because it's like the efficiency of pop music is almost what makes it mundane.
Yeah.
It's like that's what's cool about the Seattle grunge era, is like it's kind of like when I think about Nirvana, it's like kind of like it's not super clean, like it's kind of sloppy.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like that's what makes it so cool, is like there's flaw in
Yeah.
it.
Yeah. And I mean, you couldn't have.
The alternative scene was kind of a funny statement, because basically it was doing with punk what punk refused to do, and that was actually make a buck, because it wasn't punk music, but a lot of the people that couldn't handle punk, couldn't stand it, it was too much for them, gravitated to that because it was like lightweight. It was it, and all that shit, Nirvana, Pearl Jam, all of them pop, bam, like that. They're pop.
Yeah.
And that's one of the theories is why Cobain, if he did kill himself, is why he did it, because he didn't want to be a pop star.
Yeah, he turned into something that didn't want to be.
None of those bands wanted to be pop stars.
You mean when
Some irony in there
you mean when
somewhere.
Courtney Love killed him?
But
Is what you,
but when,
what you mean to say?
But when you know they follow a line through an executive's door to sign a contract, they're like, "Well, you got a 3-record deal with us. Your first album was great. Your second album doesn't sound anything like the first one. Go back."
Mm.
You don't really have the choice unless you're a band that refused to do that, or like the Melvins did when they were on Atlantic. They asked Buzz, "Why did y'all sign to a major label? That's not y'all." And so we basically followed a Coke line through their front door. And they put Houdini out and Stoner Witch out. And I think that was the only 2 they put out on Atlantic. Then they put out Prick. They turned it in. And they were like, we're not putting this out. They were like, "Well, that's our record." So then they flipped the name over, Melvins, and put it out on Boner. Which pissed off Atlantic and it kicked them off the label. So then they were back on their own, and then they started Ipecac.
Damn. The more you know.
It's all business.
I got.
Artist formerly known as Prince. That's why he did that. They owned his name. And he
Oh,
couldn't do
shit,
anything.
really?
Yep. So he
Damn.
said,
Holy shit.
if my name is a commodity to y'all,
So you can't trademark words, but you can you
and
can
if I'll
own a
write-
name.
And if I write anything, it falls under me because that's who I am.
Fuck.
So how about I trademark myself as a symbol, so y'all can't legally put it in anything. And so what the genius behind that is when MTV put a song up, he wasn't known as the artist formerly known as Prince, but there was no way to put who it was because that symbol was a symbol and you couldn't type it.
That's
So they
fucking
had
awesome.
to put the artist formerly known as Prince, so he still could sell his shit, keep all his shit, and when they booted him,
He's smart.
I
his
wouldn't.
name back
I wouldn't doubt it if he was like into magic or something. I don't know how that guy, or what. Yeah, his being his ability to channel. I don't know. It's weird when you get in when musicians talk about other musicians like they're gods. It's weird, but I guess it's kind of like the prototypes. Like how do you like? What was their secret?
Yeah, a lot of it I think gets overlooked because Prince was a phenomenal guitar player.
Yeah, he was a
Could
great
play
musician
all
around.
kind of different stuff. But what gets overlooked, he was a composer. And that's the main thing is that when you're a composer, you don't necessarily have to be able to do all the parts the best. But he did The Time, all their stuff, Doors Down the Time, that was all Prince wrote all that. When he did their demos, every single part he cut in a demo himself. Background vocals, horn parts, everything. And when the band came in, he played it and said, "This is what you play."
Kind of like a Fela.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Solid band leader, solid composer. Gets solid players because he's a solid producer. And they're all professionals, so they come in and they cut takes and it sounds great.
I have one more question for you guys. When was the last time you cried? This is something I ask everyone, by the way. I'm not just I do this to everybody.
Yeah. I think a couple days ago, probably. What?
Nothing.
I cry a
I'm
lot.
not laughing at you. I'm laughing at myself.
I cry, yeah. I definitely did on Saturday. What day is it? Thursday? Yeah, maybe it was a few days ago, maybe like 3 days ago.
It's good to cry. I cried today.
You did?
Mm.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it doesn't mean you don't have feelings or anything if you don't cry, but like...
Yeah.
What makes me cry a lot is actually like stuff related to like compassion and like good shit.
Yeah, like pieces of art.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I also could, I cry. I just easily cry. Watch a good movie. You know.
That's me. It's
Yeah.
like it's usually like a piece of art, like a movie or something or a song. It's like this, like it's like life is like the real reason for that,
Mm-hmm.
but then it releases with like I think that's healthy in the same way that art is, where it's you have to get that out of you. Kind of like we were talking about with like the stress will kill you if you just, or grief will kill you.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's releasing energy. I mean, I crying for some reason is not getting rid of like all the knots developing in my shoulders. Like I hold a lot of stress like in like right in this area, but yeah, it's a real thing. I think it's healthy to have a good cry every once in a while.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, like you said, it's like it's not unhealthy like if you don't cry often either. Yeah. It's just like I think people have different ways of release, you know.
Yeah, but I think it is important to release somehow.
In some way.
I mean, a lot of people will like run like for therapy,
Yeah.
you know, like exercise.
I love running specifically because I hate it.
I do
If that
not like
makes
running
sense.
in any capacity.
I hate it, but then it's like the doing it anyway part, I guess.
Yeah, practicing
I get into it.
self-discipline.
Yeah, yeah.
That is, it always does. Like, I feel that way with cleaning. Like, I hate cleaning my house. But when I do, I'm like, wow, like, I am so accomplished.
Yeah.
Like, this is amazing.
You
I
ever
can
get
do
into
anything.
just a mode out of nowhere? It happens to me sometimes when I come home from work. It's like the wrong time, but you just start cleaning.
Yeah, you
start
just
doing
do it.
one thing, and then the next thing you know, you're not even finished cleaning that thing. You saw something else, and then you're just running all over the house.
Yeah.
In everybody's shit. Just,
Yeah. I think I don't clean because I stress out and think about cleaning too much, but when I actually do clean, I didn't think about it. I just started doing it. You know what I mean? It's like you can't, at least for me, like the planning of cleaning keeps me from cleaning.
Oh, yeah. I know what you mean.
But like if I don't plan on it at all and I just pick up a dish, you know, and then I like then I clean the dishes.
3 hours later, and it's like you got the whole fucking house clean. Yeah.
I want to hear you answer this question. When did you cry?
Yeah,
last?
you're not off the hook.
Well, I'm not. I mean, I look for reasons to cry. I guess
You do?
I'm a very emotional child, and I like movies that will move me.
Yeah.
I like the best movies, the ones that make you laugh and cry, like very close together. It's kind of fucked up.
Oh my god! Everything, everywhere, all at once.
Dude, that one's so
Yeah,
good.
it's one of the best I've seen in a while.
Yeah,
sure.
that had me on a roller coaster, like, you know, like, and then the rock scene was so powerful to me.
Oh,
There's
fuck.
your laugh.
I lost my
Yeah.
shit. Oh, you laughed during that?
Well,
I laughed
It
too,
is
but
funny,
then
but it's
Laughter
also
is after
fucking-
you've cried. I feel like.
yeah.
yeah, because that's a release. Like
The first time that someone says something funny at a funeral after you've been crying for like an hour, it's the funniest
like,
thing
"Thank
you've heard in your
God."
entire life,
Yeah.
you know?
Can cut.
Yeah.
yeah.
Do you remember what was the last thing that got you? Like that?
To cry or
Mhm.
I feel like you haven't cried in a while. You probably need to
you
get
don't
one.
know me. You don't know me.
When
I
the
just
next
have this
rehearsal,
feeling.
if you're in my band, you'd cry every rehearsal.
Yeah.
Not on my fucking tempo.
I'm still waiting.
Yeah. I mean, I could think of some. I could start crying now if you want me to. I could think of things, but I don't know. I think this is such garbage bullshit. But there was something, a musical idea that I was thinking about.
Was that bad?
And it related to my mom, and she's still alive, so it's not like feeling nostalgic about her or whatever. But something that made me think about something she would like, and it made me emotional.
Mm.
So,
Did you cry?
Yeah.
Oh.
Fucking
well,
pussy.
Well, you no.
Got him.
You avoided saying cry. You said emotional, so I didn't know. Like, there's something there.
I guess I
You
didn't
like-
get up and break something. Like I didn't it didn't make me mad. It made me
So
happy
fuck,
and
Alex.
emotional. Yeah. I used to cry. I used to literally cry after every basketball game that I lost as a kid, and that was every basketball game.
Well, so being
Literally.
frustrated makes you cry.
Losing,
Being humiliated.
I'm used to that.
Like
There's some growth.
when you try really hard and you don't get there, that's a fucking tough thing.
Yeah.
That was my childhood, learning that the hard way.
You
with
know-
that stuff. But
Do you feel like a lot of us, as we grow up and have like humiliating or traumatic experiences, we avoid putting ourselves into situations where we will get too passionate about something, so if we do fail, it's going to be unbearable and like we'll cry?
I think that's definitely like one reaction
It's
to
pretty
it.
standard
Yeah.
defense mechanism.
Like,
Play it safe.
It's
yeah.
you touch a hot stove once.
I
know,
think
Yeah.
and after that you're like, just looking at the stove iron makes you think about it.
Yeah.
Just
But
looking at the iron of a stove when it starts to glow makes you think about touching it that first time.
it's such a shame though, especially like with creative type people who like they let fear keep them in this like safe zone.
Maybe art is the stove, though. Maybe that one feeling you got the first time you burnt yourself was like, ooh, I remember that. I want to
Yeah.
get back to that again.
Also
I'm kinda-
depends on how you push yourself personally. Because I, not always, but I will put myself through discomfort in order to come out on the other side with something to understand.
what you
from it.
learned from that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, I think, like, you know, something bad happens to you, like, closing off that kind of thing from happening again is definitely, like, a fair and, like, very human response. I'm kind of, like, an experience junkie. Like, I like doing new things. Like, I want to go skydiving. I want to do things. Because we only live once, and it's like, I mean, maybe. Who fucking knows at all? But, like,
Well, in this dimension, you probably won't.
yeah. Taylor, when was the last time you cried?
Probably Friday, I'd say. Yeah.
Was it a thing, like something you were watching, or was it?
Just to be brutally honest, the end of a very long relationship.
Yeah.
And all the fun stuff that comes with that. But maybe it's kind of like a micro version of the laughter thing after all the sadness. Like, the cry does make you feel better after it's out.
Yes.
It's kind of like vomiting. When
I
you're
was
really
just
nauseous.
about to say that. Yes.
You got
That
to.
is- yeah.
Yeah.
You feel so much better after you
Feels
feel. It's
so
like,
much better.
but you don't want to do it. It's like, at least I don't. It's like hesitating to do that, and then once you do it, it's like, no, that was exactly what I needed.
Yeah.
I'm upset that I'm wasting food.
Yeah, it's not efficient.
Wait a minute. No, I went out to eat. I spent a lot of money on this.
Neve, when was the last time you cried?
Actually, probably when I was watching Barry Lyndon. Yeah. It wasn't that heavy, though, but it was because I forgot. That movie, it's a phenomenal movie if you've never seen it. It's very long, but it's humorous how Kubrick does humor.
Yeah.
But it is emotionally heavy, and I forgot about a major part in it. And as it came up, I was started to remember, oh, this happens. And then I was like, oh, no, I don't know if I'm going to be able to deal with this. And then it was one of those things where it wasn't like when I'm listening to a song sometimes and it breaks me up. That doesn't bother me. Actually, I kind of enjoy that. This
So when you say
me.
breaks you up, do you mean when it makes you cry?
Yeah.
When it makes you emotional?
Yeah, well, a couple of tears rolling isn't really breaking up to me.
Okay.
You know what I mean? And that's like the other night when I was watching that. You know, I got some tears rolling. And I got a little felt, but I didn't really, but I saw it coming, and it was a sad thing.
Mm-hmm.
So it wasn't necessarily something I wanted to go through.
Yeah.
You know, I was like, oh, damn, even though it's a great film and it's a great part of the film and it was fine, but I didn't want to stop it. I almost wanted to stop it and be like, oh, I've been watching this for hours now. But I was like, you know what? No, I'm watching this, And I couldn't stop watching it because it's such a good movie, But it's, I don't want to talk about the part because if you haven't seen the movie.
Yeah.
I haven't seen it.
After you told me about it, I
Barry Lyndon
found
is,
it.
it is a book that was written way back, and then Kubrick did a film. It's one of his most unknown films.
Yeah.
It's about 3 hours long, and it's shot by, I can't remember his name. He's the same guy that shot a couple other films of his. He shot 2001.
Okay.
That director. The cinematography in it is amazing, and it's a period piece.
I think I've been calling it Barry
shit.
Lyndon
Yeah,
this
that's
whole
right.
time.
I thought that's what it was too. Is it Lyndon?
Oh,
Lyndon?
I think it's
that-
Lyndon.
I wasn't trying to serve you.
I thought it was
Yeah.
Lyndon also.
It could be Lyndon Lyndon. Because actually, that's not even his real name.
Okay.
But that's the thing is it's shot so well, and I read that the costumes, not all the costumes are costumes.
Oh yeah, you were telling me that.
The wardrobe lady actually went and found real Victorian era stuff.
Wow.
Like a lot of soldiers are wearing real stuff because and it's really one of the most beautifully filmed, but it's long and it's, pretty heavy duty. But yeah, that's the last time I think I cried. Because I've had a headache all fucking day, and that's prevented me from it. I wanted to cry to get rid of this damn headache.
Let it out, man.
Well, Alice, we are reaching the end of our time, but you can catch Vera Bloom tomorrow night at the OG Basement. Who is that with again?
Violet Moons and Blackpool Mecca.
Yeah, it's gonna be a good fucking show.
Yeah, it's gonna be fun.
That's the OG Basement.
Yeah, don't go to
OG.
Basement East.
Underneath Grimey's, on the west side, 8th Avenue.
Well, it used to be Grammys.
Does Morbid
Oh,
Orchid
that's
have
right,
anything
it's
coming
okay.
up?
Yes. When?
Oh, actually, I think I wrote it on my calendar. I got you.
You're a freaking dude, man.
Because you told me yesterday.
It's in June, if that helps.
Yes, it does.
And I do care. I'm not trying to come off.
Oh yeah, I play a
Yeah.
show. It's no big deal. In June, sometime, I guess.
What is the name of the band again?
Morbid Orchid.
Morbid Orchid. Oh, cool.
They are
Thanks.
fucking
I
awesome.
like that.
Thank
check it out.
June 7th is when you're playing.
you. Word.
Where at?
Have you heard of The Eye?
The Eye?
Yeah, it's a house venue.
It's like EYE, like an acronym, I guess.
It's not too far. Actually, when I played in a black metal band, I rehearsed over there.
Oh, okay.
Where is it?
We
Over
might.
off 65 Thompson Lane.
Oh,
No.
Berry Hill? Sure.
No. I messed up. Harding,
Oh, okay. So like,
Trousdale.
like where Escape is.
65 Harding, Trousdale.
I don't know what that is.
That's right. It runs parallel with the interstate.
Maybe this part gets cut out because the date keeps moving.
Oh, okay.
Nothing gets cut out because I do the editing.
Fuck.
Or lack thereof.
Yeah. Alright.
Yeah.
Someone will play and it'll be good, I bet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you have another show besides that one? I thought.
No.
Okay.
No.
I don't have any shows coming up, Alice.
Yeah. Sorry, Neef, I didn't ask.
No.
Thank you both so much for being here.
Yeah, thank
This
you.
has been a
Yeah,
lot of
it's
fun.
fun.
I really appreciate it. This was a good talk.
I feel like I have like a million more questions. I'm like,
Well, we'll have
I mean,
to have you back on.
Yeah.
Episode 2.
yeah.
Next release or something, maybe later
Yeah,
in
sure,
the year or
fine.
something like that.
Cool.
Alice, thank you for coming as well, and we'll see you next week.